We are all on life's journey, and yet all of us have a different path to take. Each journey is fraught with different dangers, obstacles, and barriers to tackle and overcome. Oftentimes, there are even various predators lurking around with intent to cause harm. The journey we would like to focus on this evening concerns the typical path that one of the Saving Innocence clients might take. The Saving Innocence advocates will be communicating this journey by sharing some of their personal experiences and knowledge gained over the years. Meet Erin. Her life is marked with uncertainty and loneliness. Her mom is doing her best, but as a single parent, she's not around that much because she's working 2 jobs just to pay the bills.
Erin is only 11 years old and is often left home alone, unsupervised, to watch herself and her little sister while her mom is working.
Erin is afraid to be home alone because she lives in a dangerous neighborhood. She often hears gunshots and sirens outside of her apartment.
Erin's mom asked Joe, a neighbor, to sometimes check on her and her sister while mom was at work. Erin was comfortable with this because she trusted Joe.
One night, while Erin's mom was at work, Joe came over to check on Erin and her sister, but he had a little bit more on his mind than just saying hello. Erin experienced her first sexual assault. Erin was left dazed, betrayed, and in tears.
Joe continued to abuse Erin while her mother was away, over and over and over again.
When Erin finally got the courage to tell her mom what had happened, she didn't believe her.
As it turns out, Erin's mom was unable to process Erin's experience because she herself was still dealing with her own childhood trauma.
Oftentimes, the youth we serve experience early childhood trauma and adversity, including sexual and/or physical abuse, neglect, violence at home or in their community, poverty, and a lack of basic needs being met. Often, the sexual abuse is by someone close to them. These are some of the contributing factors to how childhood trauma warps their perception of healthy boundaries, love, and secure relationships. They lose faith in humanity and experience guilt and shame when they are abused or touched inappropriately by the people they trust or are supposed to keep them safe. This puts them on a tragic path for interpreting the world and their place in it. At this time, we find our future client working her way through middle school and high school. These are challenging times for most kids. However, some journeys have inherently more obstacles than others. Erin's backpack is starting to weigh her down.
Erin finds herself withdrawn and timid. The early sexual abuse became normalized. It was confusing how people close to her were touching her, and it affected how she saw boys in her neighborhood and men in general.
Erin began to believe that this is what love was, and how people close to her were supposed to show it. This was hurtful and confusing, but unfortunately, it was her reality.
Erin was doing poorly in school, and she soon began to question whether she can go on. She even contemplating ending her life, but she was always too afraid to follow through with it.
Erin is a shell of herself. Her mom is still fairly absent as she continues to be overwhelmed by her own trauma and working various jobs to provide the best she can for her daughters. Erin's backpack full of burdens is getting heavier and heavier. She can barely carry the weight of what she is forced to endure.
Erin often wonders where her dad is, and she senses a deep void because of it. Her mom doesn't like to talk about him much.
Erin feels exposed, vulnerable, and unprotected because her dad left when she was very young. Deep down, she feels that somehow it's her fault.
It was in this state that an older boy walked into Erin's life. He had been watching her for months and could see her vulnerability. He told her that she was beautiful and that he wanted to date her. She began to trust him and shared with him her pain. He said it wasn't fair that she was being mistreated and that he would always protect her and always be there for her. He gave her promises of a better life, and Erin always longed to hear the things that this new boy was telling her. After a few months, her new boyfriend begins to introduce his plan of how they can make money to set them up for the rest of their lives. He says, "Since you've already been having sex, you might as well get paid for it." At first, she didn't like the idea, but he forcefully convinced her it would only be for a little while.
Erin's boyfriend convinced her that she needed to do this in order to pay him back for all the gifts he had given her.
Erin's boyfriend, who has now become her trafficker, brought in a steady stream of men to sexually assault Erin on a regular basis. Soon, Erin was being sexually assaulted 8 to 10 times a day, 6 to 7 times a week.
To keep things simple, her trafficker would keep all of her money that was made from Erin's abuse. He told her that he would provide her with anything she needed.
Erin threatened to leave her trafficker, but then he reminded her that he would kill her. He told her, "I know where you live, and I know who your sister is." He read off her address and said, "Now let's not endanger anybody else."
Erin's trafficker became increasingly more abusive. He would beat her for no reason at all. One day, Erin came home with her arm broken because he had bloodied her face, because he wanted to let her know who was in charge.
Erin had to drop out of high school because the unexcused absences and the bruises became way too much for her to cover up. She lost all of her friends and felt lonely and isolated.
But one night, law enforcement partners entered the scene. They interrupt what's happening with Erin, recover her from her trafficking situation, and arrest her trafficker. A law enforcement partner calls the Child Protective Services hotline through the Department of Children and Family Services, and in turn, Saving Innocence is called to respond. One of the Saving Innocence advocates responds quickly to meet with Erin and provide support on the scene.
I was able to respond to Erin in one of the darkest moments of her life. When I arrived to the police station, I brought Erin Starbucks and McDonald's because I figured she'd be hungry.
Erin was hesitant at first. She didn't know what to make of me. She was noticeably uncomfortable and withdrawn. With time and patience, Erin grew familiar and began to trust me.
A few weeks after meeting, Erin felt safe enough to share her story with me. She recounted sadness, abuse, loss, and fear. I believed her. We made a call to the Child Protection Services hotline together and to ensure that her abuse was reported. She felt heard.
I took Erin shopping to get some new clothes, since she didn't have much since she was recovered. She got to pick out her own clothes that made her feel loved. She made sure that the clothes made her feel confident and comfortable.
Even though Erin wasn't with her trafficker anymore, she still struggled with pain, memories, and disruption. The more she ran away, I remember when she gave me her first call, and I told her that everything would be okay. She knew I'd be there.
Erin and her Saving Innocence advocate continue meeting every week, and slowly the backpack is getting lighter and lighter as more and more of the rocks get removed. Soon, Erin is back in school, returning to health, and has a secure support system around her. She's receiving support through a specialized social worker and mental health services through a trauma-informed counselor. Her trafficker is arrested and is awaiting trial. Erin's journey has taken a much-needed turn for the better. She is gaining strength and confidence every single day. Her advocate helped her get re-enrolled into high school since she had to drop out when her trafficker wouldn't let her attend anymore.
Erin is attending high school with her peers and loving her new routine. She is even considering where she might go to college.
She has her eyes set out for a marine biology degree at Cal State LA because she loves the ocean. It's the only place where she's always felt safe and free.
Erin and I get to celebrate her 18th birthday with a special dinner and gift from Saving Innocence. We've had so many hard memories together. It's important to celebrate the milestones that make her feel seen, loved, and respected.
Erin is learning a whole new set of life skills at the Saving Innocence SLAY program. SLAY teaches youth how to be the leader of their own lives by focusing on life skills, emotional regulation, and self-empowerment.
Erin testified in a jury trial against her trafficker in a Los Angeles criminal court building. She was so scared, but she was so brave, strong, and confident. Her voice wavered, but her testimony and her truth was a powerful part of the trafficker's conviction. She was inspiring, and I was proud of her. But better yet, she was proud of herself.
One of the best days I'd had with Erin was celebrating her high school graduation. Considering all that she'd been through, me, her mom, and her sister had the pleasure of cheering her on.
I told Erin these last few rocks will take some more time to remove. There are parts of this healing journey that will take longer than you think, but they'll be worth it in the end. You'll have to put in the hard work in therapy and in a safe community to get there, but you will. Your Saving Innocence family will always be here on the sidelines, cheering you on and believing in you for the next portion of your journey. You don't need me anymore, but I will always be here for you just in case you do. You got this.
Erin's interaction with her Saving Innocence advocate made all the difference in her journey. Her advocate was able to help remove some of those burdens, and she was able to set Erin up for success to continue that process on her own. Erin's mom even started meeting with a Saving Innocence parent advocate to sort through some of her own unresolved trauma. She later started attending the Parent Empowerment Program, which Saving Innocence staff helped to lead. Mom is now on her own journey of healing, and Saving Innocence will be there for Erin's mom as well. Saving Innocence has served and supported nearly 2,000 survivors of human trafficking and otherwise at-risk and vulnerable people, most of them minors. Erin, the star of tonight's show, is living a journey that is pretty typical of the kids we have served for over 14 years. They don't all have great outcomes, but we stay close and keep fighting for them regardless. Let's take a moment to hear directly from some of our actual Saving Innocence former clients. Please watch the screen as you hear from some of these real-life survivors who have spent time with Saving Innocence.